So The Power of the Doctor featured multiple callbacks to previous Doctor Who episodes, both within the 13th Doctor's era and also further back as well. And indeed, perhaps some people were a little bit disappointed with the lack of references, Easter eggs, callbacks to the Timeless Child and the Timeless Children, the episode from Series 12, the Series 12 finale. But there is actually one massive callback to the Timeless Child in the episode which has gone over most people's heads. And it's one that you'll have to listen out carefully for. So to fully appreciate this very subtle Easter egg, you'll have to cast your minds back to the Timeless Children, and specifically that very first sequence in which you're introduced to the Timeless Child, in which we saw Tecteun finding the Timeless Child and taking her home and all that kind of stuff. And then we see the Timeless Child have an accident and regenerate for the first time. This kind of latent ability to regenerate becomes apparent to the child and to Tecteun. And in the background of this scene where the Timeless Child is kind of fighting with this child on a cliff top, and then subsequently when she falls and regenerates, there is a specific music cue, a specific idea, a specific leitmotif or theme which plays in the background.
Heal the child. There was an accident. A catastrophe.
And this leitmotif appears a couple of other times in The Timeless Children itself. So we next hear it when Tecteun herself regenerates for the first time, having sort of injected the ability to regenerate into herself. And on this occasion, we also hear for the first time a bass part which goes alongside the main motif. So you have the bass part and then the main melody over the top of that.
Spliced into herself the genetic ability to regenerate.
And then finally, we hear it again, both parts of the theme, both the main melody and the bass parts, when one of the Cybermasters regenerates for the first time.
Could it be?
Yes, it could.
So this melody is very much a regeneration theme, regeneration leitmotif. It appears every time a character regenerates in The Timeless Children. Now, which other episode of Doctor Who in this era also features regeneration as a major plot point? It is, of course, The Power of the Doctor. Now, going into this episode, I was very much actually anticipating that we'd be hearing this theme again. I did in fact wonder whether it might somehow be integrated into the actual regeneration scene for the 13th Doctor. And a good few months ago now, I actually came up with like a sample sort of track for 13's regeneration scene, which kind of included both her theme, her melody, the 13th Doctor's theme, and the regeneration theme sort of layered over each other. Now, of course, in the end, this didn't come to pass. We just got 13's theme basically blasted out at full poke, beautiful, fantastic track for the actual regeneration scene. The regeneration theme itself was nowhere to be seen in that particular moment in the episode. But it does feature in lots of kind of very interesting, very surprising ways elsewhere in the episode, very satisfying ways as well. So in that opening sequence with the space train, with the Cybermasters, of course, when the Cybermaster regenerates for the first time, we hear the theme again, both parts of the theme. So the main melody, once again, are the strings and the upper strings, the violins, whatever. And then the bass part is also there as well, but not sort of as sustained as before. It's kind of a bit more syncopated, a bit more funky. And listen carefully, and those notes are the same notes that were there when it appeared in The Timeless Children.
What's happening to them?
That energy, they're regenerating.
All frequencies! Urgent appeal for help! Is there anyone out there?
And both parts of the theme are basically plastered all over that opening sequence. So if you go back and listen carefully, obviously the Cyberman theme is in there as well, and 13's theme and other bits and pieces. But the regeneration theme features very, very prominently indeed. Both parts of it, both the bass parts and that main melody. We hear the theme again in that kind of big, iconic moment where the Master regenerates into the Doctor. It's there once again, big booming sound, sort of more brassy now instead of strings. And I think this works really well as well because, of course, this is a scene all about regeneration, it makes sense for that theme to be playing in this particular moment. Now, off the top of my head, I can't remember whether it appears anywhere else in the episode, but certainly the final time it appears is a more sort of hopeful, slightly more hopeful, a variation of the theme, slightly more melancholic as well, because it's kind of at a point where we're approaching the end of the 13th Doctor's run, the end of her era. And it is the moment where the 13th Doctor sort of, comes back, returns to reality, where the regeneration thing is reversed, it is solved, and the Guardians of the Edge are sort of there, sort of spurring the Doctor on and giving her their best wishes.
Reunite.
And so there we go, a callback to the Timeless Children, to the Timeless Child in The Power of the Doctor, which, I've basically seen nobody talking about. I mean, okay, it's not a plot point, it's not like an Easter egg in that regard, but it is still a very cool bit of continuity, between these stories, linking together, basically every instance of regeneration, appearing in this era, for the 13th Doctor's era. So like I say, it's there every time a character regenerates in The Timeless Children, whether it be, the Timeless Child herself, whether it be Tak Tai-un, whether it be a Cybermaster. And then once again, in The Power of the Doctor, we hear it when a Cybermaster regenerates. It's there in that opening scene, so prominently. I think it's also in some of the other Cybermaster scenes as well, now that I think about it. And then it's there to kind of bookend this process of the forced regenerations. When the forced regeneration occurs, first of all, with the Master regenerating into the Doctor, and then when the Doctor is finally able to reverse it with the help of her friends and come back to reality, it's there once again for that final moment where she sort of returns to reality, where the Guardians of the Edge are there, spurring her on. Just a lovely sort of a way to round that off and kind of just connect all these cases of regeneration featuring as a major plot point in this era. And of course, a genius bit of work from series composer Sega Nakanola, something which you wouldn't necessarily spot on first watch unless you were really kind of tuned in to what was going on there, but something that's really satisfying and really fascinating to go back and find and actually listen to and say, oh yeah, this connects all these scenes in a way that I didn't realise before. Were you aware of this Easter egg, or have you learned something new from this video? Whatever the case, please do let me know down in the comments section. Please do leave a like if you've enjoyed this video and subscribe for more stuff like this in the future. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon, you can find the link to my Patreon page in the video description. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye for now.